What's up, everybody? Aiden Umley here. We're doing another episode of the podcast, and today I'm joined with Alec Fairbanks. So say what's up.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Yeah. So basically, what we're going to be doing is top 5 teams that are going to be sneaking into the playoffs. So teams that you don't think will make it, but maybe could make a run this season. Alec, I'll let you take it first. Who do you got? Number 1.
Okay. So number 1, it's kind of obvious, but definitely Tampa. They didn't make it last year. I don't know if they were going to be sneaking in, or it's not going to be surprising, but Tampa, they might have top 5, maybe even top 3 offense this year with Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk.
Right.
Their defense kind of improved at the end of the last season. So they can make some serious noise in the playoffs.
For sure.
Number 2 team I had was Pittsburgh. Big Ben comes back healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Juju has another year in the league. James Conner comes back healthy, and that defense kind of kept them afloat all season long. So
right.
If they can stay healthy, they definitely could sneak in as a wild card. And there's 7 playoff spots in each conference this year, so things get a little interesting.
I agree.
Number 3 is I had the Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Lock looked really nice in his 5 starts, small sample size, but Cortland Sutton out there on the outside kind of looks like a superstar in the making.
And they added Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama, which is like an amazing pickup for them. So
so Jeudy and Cortland Sutton is going to be explosive. So I'm not saying they will, but I think their offense will do some good things. And Von Miller's kind of on the sunset of his career, but I think they have a shot.
I agree.
Number 4 is I have the LA Rams.
Right. Okay.
We kind of had a Super Bowl hangover year last year.
Yeah.
I still think Sean McVay is one of the best, most genius coaches in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
If they can give Goff some time, he's not very mobile and good at adjusting. But they can keep people out of his face. He's got
Here's where I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you right there because you say Sean McVay is an amazing coach, which he is. Like, obviously, he's been in the league for about 2 or 3 years, and he's literally already been to the Super Bowl. So yes, he's talented. But the loss of Todd Gurley, who is literally keeping their team going, do you think that's going to be a big impact on them?
No, I think Todd Gurley, especially last year, really showed that he wasn't himself anymore. You saw. Not last season, but the season before, in the playoffs, it was kind of a mystery why he didn't play in the Super Bowl or why he didn't play in the playoff game against Dallas. It's because his knees are gone. So whether they kept Gurley or not, he wouldn't have been himself.
Right.
I think they can go into more like a pass-heavy offense and do really well there. I don't see the loss of Todd Gurley being an issue, and I don't see it being huge plus for Atlanta either. He's just not himself. He's got a couple arthritic knees. So
do you think Atlanta should have kept Freeman over Gurley in your opinion, or?
I think it was just more of like a salary cap thing.
Right.
Freeman was a big cap hit for them, and then Gurley kind of came in on a lower deal, so kind of saving some money. Probably get very similar production. Both of them have a lengthy injury history. Mm-hmm. Gurley's probably more serious than Freeman, but Freeman's still not signed. He's still a free agent.
I know, it's crazy.
I don't see there being too big of a drop off for the Falcons between Freeman and Gurley. I think they're both fairly similar. They can, at least at this stage in their careers. I know Gurley was an MVP caliber guy for a while, but both can catch 20, 25 passes a year, maybe get you 600-700 yards and a couple touchdowns. But I anticipate kind of a fall off for Gurley, even more so from last season.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Who else? What's your last team, I think?
And actually, it's a good transition. My last team I had was the Falcons.
Okay.
I think last year, Matt Ryan was out a few games. Their defense was kind of in shambles. Everyone was hurt. I still think Dan Quinn is a really good coach. I think Matt Ryan still has a couple really good years left.
I mean, if they're gonna make it, they have to make it like this year, because I heard from multiple sources that Dan Quinn is retiring after the season. Like, he's done. So, I mean, if Dan Quinn is really going to back his talk, because after the Super Bowl, like a couple years ago, I mean, like they've just been going like decreasing, like they haven't been as good as they were. But I mean, I think if everyone's healthy, to your point, like it should be okay. Like they should have a decent season. Like last year, I mean, like Julio still made like the top 100. Like they still had some decent players on there. My concern is, you said Matt Ryan still has a couple good years left, but like, I mean, isn't he kind of like decreasing though? Like, isn't he like kind of like not as himself?
I mean, he's always been kind of up and down.
Right.
His whole career's kind of been like a roller coaster. He's never been horrible. He had that one great year, but I heard one time it's I think Colin Cowherd said he said that it's kind of like being a quarterback in the NFL is kind of like being a real estate agent. Like you've been a real estate agent for 20 years. You have 1 year where you sell $10 million or $20 million worth of homes, and then your worst year you sell $200,000. But then all the other years you're selling $1.5 million. You take away your worst and your best, and that's kind of what you really are. If you take away Matt Ryan's worst season and his best season, that's still kind of what he is. He's about 35, I think. So he kind of was trending downwards last year, but I think he kind of pulls it together. He's got Ridley. I know they lost Austin Hooper to the Browns, but they got Ridley, Julio. I think Atlanta definitely has a chance to make some noise. I know their division's kind of a lot tougher now with Brady in it, Drew Brees and the Saints still, three-time NFC South champ. So they definitely have an uphill climb, but with there being seventh spot in each conference, it definitely gives them a chance to sneak in.
All right, and before we move on to my list, I'm going to ask you this, because we both have this thing where each of us have our favorite team. So you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, and you hate my team, which is the Dallas Cowboys, which is not a shocker because everyone hates the Cowboys.
I just hate the fans.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. They do suck. But my question is on this, is who do you think the team is to beat in the East? Because obviously the Redskins and the Giants aren't, like, good at all. Yeah. So it's either the Eagles or the Cowboys. Who do you think is winning that division next year?
Well, there's a lot of big ifs, right? I mean, if Carson Wentz is healthy, I think the Eagles are the team to beat. But he hasn't really shown that he can do that. So, Dallas adding CeeDee Lamb and Zeke still in his prime, Dak kind of coming into his own. They probably have one of, if not the scariest receiving corps in the league. One of the best offensive lines in the league. Secondary is a little iffy, but that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one.
I know.
I would just give advantage to Philly just because they did it last year, and Dallas has a new head coach. I know he's not a rookie head coach, but just kind of getting acclimated to the team. So
now I'm gonna tell you.
To see how Mike McCarthy
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what I think. Like, I know, like, this is probably coming out as biased, but I think Dallas is the team to beat now this year, only for one reason, or a couple of reasons. You said the secondary is iffy, right? But what we had, you can't lie. You've said this yourself, that we had an amazing draft this year. And I know they're rookies, but they're looking really talented. I mean, Trayvon Diggs, like his brother Stephon Diggs has been in the league for so many years, and like apparently like he's locked him up a couple times. Like, I think he's going to be a starter out there his rookie season, to be honest with you. And I think we're building a good defense, and Mike McCarthy, who knows how he's going to turn out, because, I mean, he is a Super Bowl winning coach. He took the Packers to the NFC Championship a couple times, but let's see how that works out for the Cowboys. But I do see your point with Carson Wentz and all that. So now before we go, I'm going to ask you about Seattle. Do you think they're going to have a 13 or whatever, however wins they had last year? Do you think they're going to repeat that, or what do you think is going to happen with them?
I think pre-Jamal Adams trade, I thought that Russell was just going to do what he always does, is kind of will them, despite their deficiencies on the offense and defensive line. I thought he was going to, like he always does, will them to at least 10 wins and get the wild card. But even with our atrocious offensive line and kind of disappearing act of a defensive line last year and very spotty secondary, and we were 1 inch away from beating San Francisco and winning our division. So I think Jamal Adams kind of is a game changer. I think he's him and Derwin James, but Derwin James hasn't been. I think he's the best safety in the league, Jamal Adams. So
I agree.
Him teaming up with Bobby Wagner, it's pretty scary, man. I think our secondary is much improved now. Obviously, we got Quandre Diggs in the middle of last season.
Yeah,
he's a stud. He's a stud. So we got a great safety tandem.
And you already know Dallas fans are pissed because we all wanted Jamal Adams. So yeah,
everyone wanted Jamal. Everyone wanted,
Yeah.
So,
all right.
To answer your question, I think 12. I'm expecting and hoping for 12 wins, and I'm hoping for obviously I'm hoping for a deep playoff push, and I think we definitely have the talent on offense and defense to do it. So,
all right.
We'll see.
Okay, so now I'm going to be moving on to my list, and you could feel free to stop me if you disagree. All right, so just let me know. All right, so number one on my list, I have the Indianapolis Colts, and it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy to a lot of people because they've been definitely saying, like, people are saying that they're going 8-8 or not going to have a season. But I know Phillip Rivers is digressing, but he is reuniting with his former quarterback coach, Frank Wright. And they definitely have one of the best O-lines in the league with Quentin Nelson. And they have like a really good left guard, I heard. I forgot his name, but they're really talented. And I really think they can definitely sneak into a wild card spot. I don't know who's going to win that division, honestly, because it's really up for grabs between the Texans, Titans, and Colts, in my opinion. I think they could sneak in there, though. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I don't totally disagree. I mean, Phillip Rivers, he's kind of been trending downwards, but he's still got a little bit left in him. And Marlon Mack is one of the most underrated running backs in the league, I think. Right. And the Colts weren't too far off from the playoffs with Jacoby Brissett before he got hurt. So I wouldn't be, that would be cool for Phillip. I think he deserves to make a run at it. But I think he definitely wants to chase that ring. I don't think he will get it, but I think they could make a play for a wild card spot.
All right, cool. Number two, we both have this team on our list. I have Denver, and here's the thing: they are building a unit. I mean, everyone, like, when they drafted Drew Lock, I didn't think he should even fell to the second or third round. Honestly, I think he was a first round talent. Like, to be honest, like, the guy was very underrated in the draft. Should have been drafted earlier, but anyways, he really showed his true colors towards the end. He went like he got like them 6 or 7 wins. I don't know how many total, but somewhere around there. And he didn't get a chance to play the full season. So I mean, if they played a full season, they may have made the playoffs last year. But and now they added a good receiving core with Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, and all of them. Like, and they got Melvin Gordon, and Melvin Gordon is a pretty good running back. Like, it was a good pickup in my opinion. So I definitely see them doing pretty good. Next on my list, I have. Okay, this is a shocker. No one's gonna agree with this. Okay, it's Cleveland.
Easy now.
I know. But hear me out, right? Hear me out in this one. Cleveland, they hired a really pretty good head coach, in my opinion, and they've been making some decent offseason moves. And Baker Mayfield, I think, is very underrated because he didn't have an O-line last year. I mean, he was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. And they do have Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and they added Austin Hooper, an amazing tight end. And they have one of the best running backs in Nick Chubb. And honestly, like, it's like, what did you say? It's like they're allowing 7 teams. Wait, it's like, what did you say about the playoffs? They added something recently.
Yeah, they added an extra wild card spot. So there's seven playoff teams now.
Yeah, so I think it's really between, because I don't know if the Ravens are going to have a repeat. So it's really up to the Pittsburgh and the Cleveland Browns. Like, I don't know. That was a really tough call, but I put them in there. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have a lot of talent. It just kind of all depends on that offensive line and Baker.
Right.
Whether Baker kind of, goes back to rookie year where he was lighting the league on fire and breaking the rookie touchdown record, or if what we saw last year is who Baker's going to be. So
yeah,
a lot of big ifs,
His make it or break it year, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. This is kind of when guys like Dak and Goff kind of took that step forward. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world because they are so talented, but they do have a tough division, like you said. So we'll see. I don't totally hate that. That pick by you.
All right, number 4. You're not going to like this because they are in your division, but I got the Cardinals because they could sneak in there. I mean, they did get some decent acquisitions. They got DeAndre Hopkins, literally one of the best receivers, and if not the best receiver in the league. I mean, and Kyler Murray, like, he didn't do so terrible last season. I mean, he won Offensive Rookie of the Year, even though I don't know if he should have won it. He definitely had a lot of good numbers, and I don't think he's a bust personally. I think he could be really good for the future. And who else did they get? Their defense isn't bad. They also got Larry Fitzgerald, who's kind of rusty because he's kind of getting up there in age. Butta Baker, I don't know if I said that right, but they have a lot of good talent out there. And do I think they're going to win their division? No, I think honestly, I don't even think San Francisco's going to win the division. I think Seattle is going to win the division next season, but I think they could definitely sneak in there as a wild card. Maybe like 10-6, 9-7, somewhere around there.
8-8 might get you in. 7 teams getting in.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I don't totally disagree. I do think that their defense is atrocious. Like their linebacking core is putrid. Their secondary, even with Patrick Peterson, Buda Baker, they got torched all year.
True.
So here's where I think 3 teams from the NFC West could make the playoffs. I think you already, barring any major injuries or COVID opt-outs, the Seahawks and 49ers, you can pencil them in for the playoffs. I think the Rams and the Cardinals will be fighting for that 3rd spot. And I mean, I like Kyler. I love Kyler. Kenyon Drake, put up monster numbers last year. So it'll be
interesting. For sure.
The NFC West will definitely be one of the more entertaining divisions. I know.
Now,
I'm a little biased, but they're going to be. It's going to be at least 2 teams from NFC West. So Kyler's definitely. His first year went really well. Let's see if he can, take another step forward.
For sure. And now this one. Literally, I was just thinking of really bad teams, honestly, in this pick, that would shock the world if they did this. Basically, I put the Panthers.
Oh Lord.
I know, and I don't know how Matt Rule's gonna do. Like, he did pretty good at Baylor. They still didn't win the Big 12 championship. Boomer sooner, but I'm not gonna get into that. But they definitely. He showed some talent in the college era, but I don't know how he's gonna bring that to the NFL. They did get rid of Cam Newton, but they're bringing in Teddy Bridgewater, who played pretty well with the Saints. He never lost a game with the Saints, so I mean, he could be a pretty decent starter. And I know their defense was absolutely atrocious last season, like horrible. But they drafted every pick they drafted was defense, like Derek Brown out of Auburn. I mean, like every pick was defense. So they're building something. No, and then they have Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's probably the best running back in the league. I mean, wouldn't you say so? Like,
I definitely agree.
Yeah,
I think he's the best. Yeah. He might even be the best non-quarterback offensive player in the league.
Yeah, for sure. And
go ahead, sorry.
No, it's all good. Basically, I think if like the rookies show out, and that doesn't happen often, but like if they do, they could sneak in that 3rd spot. I personally think the Falcons have a better chance over the Panthers, but if the Falcons don't do well again, I think it's the Panthers' spot to take. Do they make a deep run in the playoffs? No, not at all. I think they would definitely lose first round. But I think if they can sneak in there, I mean, that would show a good future for the Panthers fans. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I like where your head's at, but I just really don't see a path forward for the Panthers this year. Anyways, I like Matt Rule, but college to the NFL is for head coaches is huge. I mean, Nick Saban went to the Dolphins and
he was horrible,
dumpster fire. Trading for Drew Brees, and he made a lot of horrible decisions. So
true.
I think Teddy Bridgewater is a guy who you put in. He's a very good backup, but I think he's a guy who, you have to have everything else, like all the stars aligned. You have to have a great defense, great receivers, great offensive line, great running back, and he had that with the Saints. So
I mean, they did get Robbie Anderson in free agency. Like they did get, they have decent receivers, and they have DJ Moore. I don't know,
I just think it's going to be. It's going to be a growing process. There are going to be some growing pains from the Panthers, and especially in that division. I mean, it's an NFL, man. Anything could happen.
True.
But I would bet against it. But
yeah, that's fair.
Time will tell.
That's fair. And last question, then I'm going to let you go. Basically, I have to ask, who do you think will? Or it's kind of the opposite. So, who had an amazing season last year that you think are just going to not do good this year? Like, what do you think? What do you think's gonna happen? Like, do you got a team in mind?
Kind of obvious, but Patriots without Brady, I think they're gonna. I think Bill Belichick can maybe get them to 7, maybe 8 wins, but I think the Patriots are definitely gonna fall off.
You don't think Newton's gonna help them?
No. Yeah. I mean, they pretty much had, 5 or 6 guys opt out.
Nate that's
Solder and Dante Hightower. So I think it's going to be a rough year for the Pats. That's really the only team I can think of. Maybe the Titans have a fall up here. I don't know if Tannehill can. He's kind of been consistently average, and I kind of like Teddy Bridgewater. He had all the right pieces around him, so maybe he can. But and running backs like Derrick Henry, just bruisers, touches the ball 35 times a game. Those guys don't last super long. So maybe he has another really good year next year, but I don't foresee him tearing up the league for 3 more years. I think his kind of, especially with how many carries he got in Bama, I think kind of the wear and tear is going to start showing.
Right.
So they're definitely a candidate for kind of falling off. The Texans, maybe.
Yeah. I have a team in mind.
Okay, go ahead.
Baltimore. I'd really like
Baltimore.
Here, they have the MVP on their team, like Lamar Jackson. But here's the thing, I don't know. I feel like his first season they went 10-6 and they made the playoffs. Second 14-2, but they can't do shit in the playoffs. They literally can't do anything. They always lose, kind of like the Cowboys, for first or second round. If they do have a good season, I don't see them making a deep run, but I do think I think they're gonna be a wild card. I honestly think they're gonna be a wild card, if I'm being real with you. I don't even think they're gonna have a 14-2 season again. What do you think?
Wow, yeah, that's bold, man. That's bold. I would definitely still have the Ravens winning that division.
Right.
But I agree with you. Lamar's had, his first 2 years kind of had the yips in the playoffs. He's a totally different guy. I mean, a lot of that's coaching. I think they lost to Tennessee. Lamar threw it 50 times, which that's not their game. That's not his game. He's never going to be the best true quarterback of all time, but he is going to be, go down as one of the most athletic and his playmaking ability is what he's going to remember for, not for dicing up and carving up defenses and throwing 40 plus times a game. That's just not his game, and it doesn't need to be. So,
right.
I still think they probably have the best rushing attack in the league. Defense is stout. I like John Harbaugh. I definitely do. So, I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they win the division, but everyone can't win in the playoffs until they do. You know what I mean? So,
do you think the season's even going to last in the first place? To be real with you, do you think it's even going to last all games, without them delaying it?
That's a tough question, man. I don't know,
because they're allowing fans in the stadiums. I heard they're allowing over some teams are allowing literally over 70,000 people as of right now in the stadium. I don't think it's going to work. I think if you're gonna have a season, you have to either have a bubble like the NBA or don't allow fans in the stadiums. You know?
Yeah, man, it's going to be a very interesting year because it might not come down to, let's just say the season they get complete all 17 games plus playoffs. It's it might come down to which team's players are not testing positive the most, rather than the most talent. What happens when Patrick Mahomes tests positive for COVID?
Right.
First week of the playoffs, and then they have
Matt Moore. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, or whoever their backup is. You know what I mean? So that's kind of. I think a lot of people will kind of view this season as like an asterisk, put an asterisk on whoever wins it. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I think they can make it. I think the NBA I think they need to be somewhere in between the NFL and NBA. The NBA is very extreme. I know it's working, but I think for me personally, my view on it is, you're getting paid, a lot of these guys millions of dollars to do a job. So
go do
the
it.
right thing. Just don't test positive, don't.
Quarantine yourself for sure when you go home. Like, don't go out,
Just don't put yourself, and it's not even a health thing. It's just, your job requires you to not test positive, so don't. So, it'll be interesting to see, but I think the season makes it.
Yeah.
But, there's been a lot of surprises during all this COVID stuff, so we'll see.
All right, man. Well, thank you for coming, and this was an awesome episode for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. All right, man. I'll talk to you in a minute, all right?
All right, sounds good.
All right, see you, man. Bye. So there you have it, guys. We had a hell of a podcast with my guy, Alec Fairbanks. We both love the NFL, so this has made one hell of an episode. Next episode, we're going to be talking probably college football or maybe NFL. We'll see what we're doing next episode, but I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And I'm heading